what kind of pressure does that put on you guys to force turnovers or be more efficient yourself?
Well, we depend on getting people to turn the ball over a little bit and getting the game going up and down. So they do handle it well. They've got 5 guys that handle the ball pretty well. They can all pass and catch and move the ball in a lot of different ways. So it will create a lot of problems for us. I don't know how effective our presses will be. We've looked for a lot of film on people pressing them, but they haven't been pressed much. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. I don't know how much we'll use the press, but I'm sure we're going to try it a little bit.
How much more patience is required from you guys, knowing that they like to pack it in?
Well, you've got to be careful, but at this time of the season, you don't try to change who you are. You try to go play and I don't know, impose your will, impose your game plan. We want to get the pace going a little bit. I don't think they'll try to slow it down too much, but their pace is definitely different than ours. But I don't think you can change who you are this late in the season. We're going to try to play. We're going to try to move it up and down. They'll try to slow it down a little bit, and hopefully we'll be able to hit a few shots, get the floor spread out a little bit to open up some things for us.
You switched some rotations throughout the year, but it's really kind of settled in late in the year. You feel like, as a whole, this bench, with the way Elgin's playing and Ben and everybody is kind of finding their role and playing as well, you got more confidence in the bench, I assume?
Well, it'd be important for them to play well. We've been able to, Jason's been really consistent. Elgin, has been up and down, but he's had some really big games for us. Rich, Ben, been up and down, but they've had some really big games for us. DA's had a couple nice games, so we've had a lot of people contribute, to us winning some games and being successful, and so I would hope that would continue because we've really banked on our depth. We've got a lot of interchangeable parts, and we've really banked on that throughout the season.
And that with the bigs, it's also let you kind of avoid foul trouble. If somebody's in foul trouble, you've been able to get somebody else in there and not see a big drop.
Yeah, we fouled too much. Our hands, we put them on people too much, and that's been a problem for us this year. And we don't move our feet good enough, and so that has been a problem. Wade got 2 quick ones, and Rich came in, and then Ben came in, got a couple quick ones. So Mike was in foul trouble yesterday. So we haven't had to worry about foul trouble because of our depth. And that's as a coach, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Some of your players were comparing this environment to Arizona. You played well in Tucson. Does that sort of help going into this game?
I'm sure they're not talking about the weather, but no, I think Arizona plays similar to Wisconsin. They're a physical team. Tarnowski inside, they've got big inside presence, so they shoot the 3 maybe a little better than Arizona, so we won't be able to pack our defense in quite as much as we did against Arizona. So they'll create problems for us defensively, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to put enough pressure on them to make them uncomfortable. I don't think we can let them come down and run their stuff. I think we got to try to make them uncomfortable.
You've talked about how this whole tenure at Oregon has been a search for credibility, and the way you did that initially was with the transfers. With recruiting class largely high school guys, exposure of NCAA tournament, is this the opportunity to kind of wean yourself off that culture? Or is that the next step for this program?
I want guys that want to be at Oregon and want to work. If they're junior college, if they're transfers, if they're high school. Ideally, high school guys that come and stay 4 years, but I'm not sure that's the case anymore. So we want guys that want to be at Oregon, want to try to win games, want to go to school, and if we do that, we'll be fine. So, again, for me to sit here and say, we're trying to go away from transfers when Mike Mosier's played his tail off for us, Jason Cleese has played his tail off for us, Joe Young has played his tail off. You go right down the list, DeVoe Joseph, Olu, and those guys have been so good to work with. So, ideally, everybody says, well, we could get 4-year guys, and I want guys that want to be here and want to play, and that want to work and want to be part of a team. And you look at Jason, who's a 4-year starter, 3-year starter at Detroit, and he comes here and he hasn't complained one time about coming off the bench. That's Olu did the same thing. J.R. Strobridge, our first year, did the same thing, came off the bench, and so. I just want good guys that want to work, and So, but we got to get the best players we can. Because it's a game of talent, and you've got to have talented players.
Do you have that credibility that you hope for?
How much better would you be though if all those guys you mentioned had been here?
Well, that'd been great. It's sure been fun to work with all those guys for that long, because then the cohesiveness and how many more things you can do offensively, because they know what our base, and then you can expand from that. That'd really be nice. But by the same token, what they've come in and given us, I'm afraid if I say, well, we're going a different direction, because it takes away or makes it seem like I haven't been happy with those guys. And I want you to know, I wouldn't change my relationship with DeBow, Olu, J.R. Strobridge, Joe, Jason, Mike, all the guys that have come in for anything. As I wouldn't with Johnny, Ben, Dodd, D.A., the guys who have come in as freshmen. It's just different relationships, and but they've all been pretty good.
Do you think you have that credibility that you said you wish so for so
well,
much?
I hope so. I hope people have warmed up to our team and our coaching staff. We got great coaches, Tony Stubblefield and Fish and Kevin McKenna and Josh. Good guys. So, I hope that, our 4 years that, people have kind of understand that we're trying to compete, and, we've finished second a couple times in the league and in a log jam this year, tied for third with everybody. And we were a little disappointed. We had the bad stretch there, as our fans were, everybody was. But I'm really proud of the way the guys bounced back, because, as I mentioned a number of times, a lot of teams would have folded, and these guys didn't. So I'm really happy for them in that regard, and we can really finish it off good here with, playing a few more weeks, and we have a great challenge in front of us tomorrow, playing Wisconsin here in Milwaukee. But our guys are looking forward to that challenge.
Wisconsin did the same thing. They had 13-0, 14-0 start, and then lost like 5 out of 7. And then you seen kind of what was different between them, or just kind of concentrated on them now?
They had a little stretch like us. A few shots didn't go in, lost a few close games. And when you're playing good competition in your league, our league's good, their league's good, and if you're not playing your best basketball, I've always talked about those 4 2-point losses and how hard those were, and we just weren't playing good enough. So,
kind of ride the momentum of Altman at this point.
Well, I hope so. He had a great game yesterday. I hope he can bring it again. I know he'll try, and his focus will be great. It's one of those things. He got on a little roll. He hit some early baskets, and then he gets the temp dunk in the second half. That energy was flowing, the adrenaline was flowing, and it could have been just one of those days, but I sure hope it's just one of those days again tomorrow.
Elgin, the game he has last night, and then he doesn't really seem like the kind of guy to revel in that. Do you guys ever have to just tell him, smile, enjoy it?
Well, I think he enjoyed it, and I know his family did, which was really important for him. All the guys said how excited he was, to come back to Milwaukee. Other than a smile when they announced it, I haven't seen much other emotion. He wears his emotions pretty close to the vest. So, but I am happy for him. He had a lot of family there yesterday, and really happy for him.
And if Joe came to you after the season and asked what his strengths would be at the next level, where he could get better to be a better pro, what kind of feedback would you give him?
Well, his ability to score, is there. He does need to get stronger. His ball handling needs to improve. He's made tremendous strides defensively, and so I just, hope he can continue to make those strides.